Home Depot and Lowe's, they've done their earnings. They've announced their focus on the pro community. And who are they taking those pros from? B2B distributors. So in the past few weeks, you've had Home Depot and Lowe's. They've both come out with their earnings. The big takeaway between Home Depot and Lowe's earnings was, what was their customer composition? We've talked many times on the show for many months now, probably over a year, on Home Depot's push to get into the professional contractor segment. They've bought things like HD Supply. They've rolled out a whole program of contractor tools, of investing in infrastructure like flatbed trucks and other parts of their stores to attract this professional community. And what you saw in spades from this earnings season was basically Home Depot's, their split of what they call do-it-yourself, which is kind of individuals doing home improvement projects on their home, and that professional contractor community has put Home Depot in a much better position strategically in a softening market recession as compared to Lowe's. That is because that DIY segment is more sensitive to upswings and downswings in the economy. These are individuals paying for these projects, as opposed to that professional community this is what they do. They are generally always going to find work or much more reliable flow of demand coming from the contractors, and the contractors are then hired. They could be doing residential work, but they could also be doing commercial work. They could be doing government work. They could be sourcing their work and their business in a multitude of ways, but that buying predictability is much higher from that professional community than with that individual DIYer homeowner, right? So now all eyes are on Home Depot and what they've been doing to penetrate into this pros and professional contractor market. So put a little chart together. The home improvement retail market for Home Depot, basically $900 billion split equally. $450 billion is the DIY, and then $450 billion is the pros. Pretty big numbers. And then we went back and looked at Home Depot's. We looked at Home Depot's and Lowe's, their earnings, their transcripts, some stuff that they write in their earnings reports or presentations, some stuff that they just speak to on the call. We don't have the data exactly for every single year, but we have it pretty close. So we've broken out the share of sales from B2B pros and looked at that from Home Depot versus Lowe's. Lowe's only really started to kind of talk about this in the past few years, which makes sense because it hasn't been as big of a customer mix for Lowe's as Home Depot. Lowe's is at 25% this year of their overall customer mix as compared to Home Depot, who just passed 50%. It's about 55% this year. So it's actually a majority of their sales are coming from what they call 5% of their customers, which are the pros. And then 45% of their revenue is actually coming from more, individual DIYers, the residences, the homeowners. In 2019, Home Depot said they had 45% of sales coming from this professional community. 2020 is a little bit fuzzy. COVID, they said a decline. They didn't really rule out exactly where that came in at. And then 2021 up to 50%, and now 2022 trending above that, as I mentioned, at 55%. You compare that to Lowe's, where they're just now at 25%. Before that, they were in the kind of 22, 23% range, and then also below that in 2020. Those numbers a little bit rougher with when COVID hit and how much disclosures they were making on that. So you can see that it's growing for both parties. And these are big companies doing a lot of revenue. So these percentage points are worth a lot of money. One of the big things we've talked about that Home Depot has done quite successfully is to partner with different digital demand channels, different contractor tool startups. And so I got a few examples of that. We've done a bunch of other videos that go much deeper into this. So just in the past couple months, in May of 2022, Home Depot announced a $150 million VC fund to, quote, fuel innovation in retail and home improvement. The fund is there to identify, fund, and partner with early-stage companies to accelerate emerging technologies that aim to improve the customer experience, shape the future of home improvement. So you can bet you, and then one of the specific bullets is, there's 2 bullets on better serve customers. One is more for DIY. And then the other one is evolve how the pro customers efficiently manage and grow their businesses, saving them time and money. One great example of this is, and we've covered this many times on the show, is Home Depot's investment in Hover. Home Depot is one of the early investors in Hover. Hover is a roofing technology that for roofing contractors and homeowners, you can use this to get a sense for how big your roof is, and using augmented reality and other technologies to aid in that process. Hover today has raised a bunch more money. It's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and is actively used and partnered with the top 3 roofing distributors in the nation. Home Depot has been an early investor in that company for many, many, many years. So, Home Depot is getting data on their investment. We don't know to what degree Hover is disclosing what additional volumes they're getting through these new partners, being the top 3 roofing distributors in the country. But you know that they are getting something, and as well as some other goodies, right? And they've been collaborating for many years, much longer than Hover collaborating with the roofing distributors. One more example. Home Depot last fall announces partnership with Buildertrend. Buildertrend is a construction project management tool providing construction professionals the technology to help them manage and grow their businesses, along with an integrated purchasing experience and discounts. Home Depot was going to promote the Buildertrend tool to its contractor and pro and loyalty program community. Home Depot then can better integrate into that purchasing experience on Buildertrend, right? It's a 2-way synergy kind of partnership. I don't think Home Depot invested in Buildertrend, but you can see where this direction is going and how there are so many different contractor tools. There are so many different technologies that these contractors need to use, whether it's to run their business, whether it's to finance their supplies, whether it's to just logistically get the stuff from point A to point B, or any number of other situations, that technology is actively sprouting up to try and solve those needs. And Home Depot has been playing in that space for years. They're doubling, if not tripling down with this $150 million VC fund, which, oh yeah, that's right, Amazon just launched $1 billion VC fund specifically focused on the supply chain, all within just a couple weeks of each other. So going back to this analysis between Home Depot and Lowe's, would not be surprised if Lowe's is looking at doing something similar. How is Lowe's going to better partner with technology startups that are catering to the needs of its customers in this area, the pros, as more and more folks, not just retailers, but also manufacturers and marketplace disruptors, are trying to penetrate into B2B distribution. That's what this is. Who are these professionals customers of? Otherwise, B2B distributors. This is a direct affront to B2B distribution. Who is the other key investor in Hover in addition to Home Depot? Standard Industries, which owns GAF, which is one of the big roofing manufacturers. Both of these forces are squeezing and pushing on B2B distribution, and it's time for B2B distributors to stand up, fight back, and win. If you like this video, go check out our other video, really doing a deep dive on Home Depot, on Hover, on other transactions, on these VC funds, on how many tech startups B2B distributors are acquiring or investing in. We've got videos on all those different topics. Go check those out.